what I want to tell you is by going over there and facing your fears and picking up the dumbbells or going into the squat rack or doing these things that you didn't think you could do before, you're going to start to feel like a badass. I was scared to go into the weight section of the room. Like that was a fearful thing. And I remember it took me 9 weeks of lifting consistently before the gym started to feel like home. I remember listening to that book and shortly after going to New Mexico, which is where like all my extended family is, and seeing the mountains. And then like the sensations came of like, oh, barometric pressure change, like there's mountains. We usually get migraines during this time. And like going, oh, I'm safe and doing some deep breathing. And then it passing and going, wow, this is fascinating.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to A Better Way with Gestem podcast. And today I have another guest here with me, and her name is Laura Ricci. And Laura is a pelvic floor specialist and physical therapist. She has a doctorate degree in it. She's also a very fierce women's health advocate. She knows everything about essential oils. She's extremely passionate about weightlifting. So I just told you all of the things that we're going to talk about today. She also has a journey, her own very personal journey with mind-body symptoms, which we will dive into for sure. And a big portion of today's episode is going to be dedicated to that, but also nutrition, training, and all the other good things that we have to share here today. So thank you so much, Laura, for coming here and sharing your story with us.
Oh my gosh, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. So why don't you first tell us a little bit more about yourself? What I shared was just a very brief introduction, but tell us in your words who you are and what you do.
Oh man, it's funny because I feel like we go into life thinking that it's going to look one way and that it looks completely different. And as you mentioned, have my doctorate in physical therapy and really thought that that was going to be what I was going to do. And then, as we'll talk about, life and plot twists and things happen to kind of change that. And it's put me on this path of learning about a lot of different things and coming to the world of essential oils and holistic tools and natural remedies, and also learning about TMS and the mind body connection. And I feel like there was a piece of everything along my journey that I kind of collected that helped. And where I really see myself now is my love language is helping other women step back into their power. And that's something that you've helped me do, and that weightlifting has done, and the TMS work, even emotional work and pulling in the oils. I love to do that. So it's interesting because I don't feel like it's one thing anymore. It's kind of like taking the best of all of these experiences and then using that to hopefully help somebody else along their journey. That if we can lighten their load or decrease their suffering, or if they can take something away from what we've learned, then man, it's worth it, like to help other people through the process.
Yeah, yeah, so cool. When you talked about it, your own experiences and now you're helping others with it, what always comes to my mind is this saying, I'm turning my mess into a message. So I feel like it applies to both of us. That's what we're doing here. And yeah, it is like little bits and pieces from here and a little bit there, but it all comes together. Everything is related at the end
It
of the
really
day.
is.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us, let's start actually right off the bat with the TMS journey. So, for those who don't know what TMS is, I'm just going to say really briefly it is tension myositis syndrome. It's not important that you know this term, but what it essentially means is that we have these symptoms, sensations in our bodies that feel extremely uncomfortable, but are not caused by anything physical. So it is a mind-body problem that manifests in a very physical way. So Laura, tell us about that. When did you first realize that you have some health problems that maybe didn't go away, and how this journey took you on, to the point where you discovered, yes, this is TMS?
Yeah, isn't it interesting because I can look back on my health journey and go, oh, wow, like a lot of that was related, but I didn't know, and we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And I had the biggest sensation, there were several, but the biggest thing for me was daily headaches since 2004 and really frequent migraine headaches. And I had done everything, all the diets, all the gluten, dairy, sugar-free, paleo, functional medicine, everything from the holistic space for years. So lots of different practitioners and chiropractors and acupuncturists and all the things. And seen all my friends who are physical therapists, because that's was how I was trained and where we started. And then wasn't really getting anywhere. It wasn't changing anything. And so after being very reluctant going back into Western medicine, I'd kind of started with Western medicine and done the Botox injections and all of these things and took a break for like 10 years from that and then went back into Western medicine treatments again at a headache clinic and was there for about 2.5 years. And they were like, we've done everything. Like there's not, we've tried all the medications, we've done all the things. We're going to refer you for a migraine surgery. And I had a consult with two different migraine surgeons. And I back up, I've had 18 surgeries. So going into another surgery was like, I do not want to do this.
Yeah.
And I, insurance wasn't even going to pay for it. And I was literally at the end of my rope. And I say that because as a healthcare professional and my background and everything, it took me being at the end of my rope to even being open to this, what this is. And a functional medicine doctor had recommended the Curable app to me. And I was listening to it and I was doing it, but I was also like, I know this. I've been meditating for years. Okay, okay, pain science, blah, blah, blah. But it kept mentioning this book. And if you want to learn more, read The Way Out by Alan Gordon. And it kept mentioning it over and over and over again. And so finally I was like, I'm just going to read this book. I'm just going to get it on Audible. I'll listen to it. We'll see.
Mhm.
And that explained it in a different way, in a way that I was open to. He's actually quite funny.
He's
And I feel
funny.
like we need humor in the world
Hmm.
of chronic pain. And
Agreed.
at first it pissed me off, right? The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. And I was like, like they're saying it's all in my head and I did this to myself and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, no, that's not what we're saying. If we did a functional MRI of your brain, it would be lit up like a Christmas tree. Like you are wired differently. This is real. Your pain is real. And I started just playing with a few of the things in the book of like just going outside and not being on my phone and going for a walk, just starting to do the somatic tracking of just like noticing things, reminding my body that I was safe. And within a few days, the frequency and the severity started to come down. But what was interesting is Mark, my husband, said, I'm noticing that your spark is coming back. Because he knew me before I had daily headaches and frequent migraines. And it was fascinating. So then I was like, I need to learn more about this and started kind of researching and reading books and doing different things. But and nobody tells you about the symptom imperative at first, which is like then my headaches and migraines started calming down. And these beliefs that I had to start questioning them of because I would just thought, oh, barometric pressure changes are going to bring it on. If it rains, it's going to bring it on. If I get on an airplane, if I'm in the mountains, if I eat gluten, if I have a food, and I started testing those things and playing with it and going back to that sense of safety and doing some of these tools and going, whoa, it had been over 10 years since I had had gluten and I was okay. And I was like, what the heck is this? Oh my gosh. And and I was like, I got to learn more. This is fascinating. And then old pains would come up. Like now it's not my head, it's like this old SI joint. And I was like, oh, this is fascinating. And so,
Hmm.
like, then it was my hips. I've had 8 hip surgeries for hip dysplasia. Then they were talking to me. Then it was intense fatigue of like, I had a cancerous tumor the size of a softball in my abdomen. So I did have some structural things on top of TMS things, but that intense fatigue that I had during that time hit me and it scared me. And once I started learning, this is just how your nervous system's communicating with you. It's saying, oh, well, we're not getting her attention with giving her headaches anymore. Let's throw fatigue. That'll slow her down because that was scary for her. Once I started realizing that, it was like, oh, there's nothing wrong. This is just how it's talking to me. And then like deep emotional stuff started surfacing after all the like random ping, ping, ping physical pain stuff, the emotional stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, it was like we hit the core. But that's where I feel like the work that you do, Kirsten, is so important because there's this process. It's like peeling back layers of an onion. And it has been the most transformative thing of learning about TMS and neuroplastic pain has helped me more than all of these physical treatments and things that I was doing for years and years and years. And it's even changed the way that I do my work and use essential oils because before I was using them to like get out of pain
Mhm.
or try to run away or try to fix this thing or
Yeah.
and now it's like, oh, actually I'm just going to use it to regulate my nervous system. I'm just going to use it to bring more joy or a glimmer or ground my senses or just make my house smell really yummy because that's
Mhm.
calming to me. And it was interesting that shift, but it made an impact in so many different areas of my life.
Mhm. Yeah, isn't it awesome to realize like how these things start popping up and it can be so scary at first, like, oh my goodness, right? I thought that there's the answer and it kind of was, but then you get like a bunch of other things. But I think it's so important to normalize it because this is what happens to so many people. You mentioned the term symptom imperative. Yeah, that's what it's called, right? It's like the nervous system is like, you sure that you don't have migraines anymore? How about hip pain then? Well, how about, I don't know, anxiety then? Something like this.
It's so
Yeah.
true. And it's funny you say that because I wouldn't have called myself an anxious person.
Hmm.
Wouldn't have said that I have anxiety. And as like these layers were peeling back and these deeper emotions we were going through, I remember going, I'm feeling this like tightness in my chest.
Hmm.
I'm feeling anxious and just being able to recognize and register what I was feeling and be able to say it
Yeah.
was so powerful. And then let those feelings pass through you. It's like
Hmm.
there's different levels or
Hmm.
layers and I feel almost like for people on this journey, I'm so excited for you. Like this is going to change your life. And I'm also like buckle up buttercup because
Yeah.
like it's going
Yeah.
to shake you up a little bit, but it's going to in the best ways
Yeah.
to create some amazing things.
Yeah, there really are layers. And the first one, I think, is to accept that this is really what's happening. So my question to you is, you do have a very like medical background in a sense, physical therapy, doctorate degree in it. Was it difficult for you to accept this idea that this is the thing? Because you never learned that in school, did you?
No, was never taught neuroplastic pain. Was
Mm-hmm.
taught that pain comes from the brain,
Mm-hmm.
but not necessarily all the other pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very hard. It
Mm-hmm.
was very challenging for me because I kind of felt like there were two pieces of me. There was the doctor of physical therapy, healthcare professional piece, and then there was the patient piece.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very different when you are the patient, when you are experiencing these things. And for me, fascinatingly enough, the thing that got through to me, like that book kind of opened my mind a little bit to it. But in order for me to really solidify and believe that this is real, there were some lectures by mind body physicians in the Curable app. And I dug through those and I listened to them. And there's one by Dr. Howard Schubiner.
Yes.
And it was all about like, how do you tell? How do you diagnose this? Because that's what was going through my brain of, but I did have physical stuff. I did have cancer. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's not a mind body thing necessarily. But then I started learning it doesn't matter what it is, even if it's a structural thing, the mind body work will help that. And so I had to listen to a lot of lectures and even get on a Q&A call with another physician, John Strauss, something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I got that name right.
Um, it's
Um,
something Strax, isn't it?
He's in Chicago.
Yeah.
It's, I think you're right. And so my question for him, like we each got to ask a big question. And I was still in my like, I don't know if this is real phase. And I freaked out because the symptoms imperatives, the pains were bouncing around. And then I got like intense shoulder pain. No
Mm.
incidents of
Wow.
injury.
Mm-hmm.
It was a brand new pain out of nowhere and it scared me. And I got on the call with him and I was like, okay, here's my background. Like, I'm a PT. I'm
Mm-hmm.
having this like intense shoulder pain that's freaking me out a little bit, but I did have cancer. Like this thing happened. How do we know? And what was fascinating and what he said to me, which like blew my mind a little bit, was what's interesting is almost all of my mind body patients that have come to me and they had a structural thing like cancer. It was almost like the medical system didn't believe them, like they were gaslit, like they had to prove they knew in their bones something was wrong and they had to like keep seeking it out. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was my story. Because I was told you have depression. They didn't run any tests, they didn't do any physical exams, nothing. My family doctor, which I later fired. And it turned out I had this like softball sized tumor in my abdomen. I knew something was wrong. I didn't know what. And so he was saying, like you'll know if something is there. But he was like, but your shoulder pain, like this is just part of it. This is actually good. Like your brain is processing and it's going to go away. And like the next day it did. I just needed a doctor to tell me that it was going to go away. So
Mm-hmm.
I was super skeptical and I had to have some experiences. And I think my medical brain had to have other medical physicians speak it to me in different ways until I finally accepted
Mm-hmm.
that, oh, this
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah, if you know so much about different health problems and diseases and things, that that can be dangerous because you just know too much. You're like, this could be happening, that could be happening. Um, right now, I am working with somebody who's a nurse, and she has so many different diagnoses in her head that she's like continuously diagnosing herself with. And I'm like, yes, I think it is important that you get medically evaluated and make sure that nothing is truly wrong, or if there is, that you can address it quickly. But if everything comes back, all the tests come back negative, negative meaning there's no issue there, right? Then why are we still looking for the next thing and next thing? And I think because we are so trained to believe that everything that manifests physically must have a physical cause. And my question is like, why is nobody teaching us the truth? That it doesn't always have a structural physical cause.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard for us as healthcare professionals because it's been pounded into us for
Hmm.
so long. And there's this unlearning that
Hmm.
has to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So once you found Alan Gordon's book, which you mentioned is like funny, lighthearted, I enjoyed listening it too. Were there some things that you then decided, no, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing this? Maybe something that you were afraid of before. Were there any things like that that kind of you got like permission to go and do it now?
The biggest thing was the food
Oh yeah. Oh cool.
because I was just like, I was so afraid of food. Like getting glutened, having a gluten experience, like something, and I was so rigid.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would make my own food and take it to Christmas family dinner or pack it for vacations and stuff. And that was exhausting. It was absolutely exhausting. And so that was my big thing I remember listening to that book and shortly after going to New Mexico, which is where like all my extended family is, and seeing the mountains and then like the sensations came of like, oh, barometric pressure change, like there's mountains. We usually get migraines during this time. And like going, oh, I'm safe and doing some deep breathing and then it passing and going, wow, this is fascinating. And then I remember going to Old Town in Albuquerque and going to get like really good, authentic Mexican food. Like legit, like this is something I would never do before.
Mm-hmm.
Like haven't had it in over 10 years and split something with my husband. I think we got like beef enchiladas or something. And being okay and just like reminding my body that I'm safe. And it felt like little glimmers of like, I'm getting my life back. Like just enjoying simple pleasures, not being afraid of everything, not feeling like I have to control everything and like hold on to everything so tightly. And like that was the first thing that I really tested that I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to was like, I'm gonna try eating gluten dairy and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so cool. There's only one way to get better, which is to do this stuff that you have been so afraid of. Because if you're like, yeah, okay, I believe you, but I'm still not going to eat anything, like, how is that going to help you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like me dipping my toe in the water.
Yeah, yeah. And same thing is, I'm sure we're gonna get to exercising in that part too, but a lot of people have these body positions that they're so afraid to do, like bending forward or squatting or going up the stairs, whatever, because this is when the pain usually comes up. And when you tell them that actually you have to practice it while maintaining this positive attitude and knowing that you're fine, they're like, nope, not gonna do it. But how are you gonna get better then? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah, really important to know. So, where are you right now with your TMS journey? You still have something going on, or you would you say you're mostly free from your symptoms?
My goodness, I look back to where I was a year ago.
Hmm.
And it was almost a year ago. It was April of 2024 when I read that book.
Hmm.
And I think about I was consulting with all these migraine surgeons, trying to figure out like next steps with that. I also had hip discomfort, and I was talking to a hip surgeon in Denver, Colorado. I've had 8 surgeries, 4 on each hip for hip dysplasia. So I was thinking, probably going to need another hip surgery. Like my labrum's probably retorn again, blah, blah, blah. And just not feeling good overall in my body and I mean like depression and just not feeling like myself anymore and just feeling numb and kind of lost and that there was no hope. And now, I mean, I had daily headaches every day for over 20 years
Oh God.
and I don't.
Mm.
And it's really funny because people talk about this like you just wake up one day and you're like living your life. And then you're like, oh, yeah, the sensation's not here anymore. And that's really what it is. Um, I don't have daily headaches anymore. It is rare that I will have a migraine now. And I was having them like 5 a week. It was a lot. It was like affecting my quality of life, um, issues. There was one point I had a like constant for 2 weeks, which was horrible, horrible.
Mhm.
And now I can feel it like come on or feel like head sensation come on. And I can usually like just kind of go like, oh, and realize that it's either I pushed myself too hard, there was some type of stressful thing that happened, there was some big emotional thing that happened. Like now I can pinpoint and go, oh, and backtrack a little bit
Yeah.
and take care of myself and address it very quickly.
Hmm.
And so I can get things under control much, much faster.
Hmm.
Um, and it's much, much better. Like I feel like I just live my life. Am I 100% pain free? No, but I also don't think anybody is because pain's a part of life and we need it and we'll die if we don't have pain.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like I need a surgery, which is a
Mm.
huge win, especially coming out of like 18 surgeries. And I'm constantly, I think we evolve and we see things, and it's funny where I am right now in my TMS journey, which is hilarious. We'll probably talk about this, Kirsten, but I've slowly I've been hungry, and we're like adding in more calories, and the scale's going up just a little bit. And what's fascinating is as it creeps closer to 150, I was around 150 pounds when the cancer came, and I was gaining weight and I didn't understand why. And so I realized, like, oh, this is like PTSD. This is a traumatic event. Like, my body associates a number on a scale with a cancer diagnosis, with like getting sick. And so I'm doing my own work with it now. And what I think is so funny is around the same time of that, of just me noticing, oh, I have anxiety about this number on the scale. I had TMS sensations, like phantom pain of the tumor come up. And so I've just been sitting with it over the past few days and processing it. And something that you taught me that was so valuable, the parts work, which was so important. And I really sat with that and was like, okay, this is fear because my 27-year-old self that was diagnosed with cancer, she's freaking out right now. She's like, whoa, this is not good. And so there was a lot. It was actually this morning that I just sat with it and I put my hands over my abdomen and I like talked to my 27-year-old self. And I was just like, oh, hey, sweet girl. Like, I remember. what it was like the day that you were diagnosed. And it felt like your whole world like fell apart. But you're so strong already. And you know what? Like you're going to go through a lot. Like yes, there's going to be pain, there's going to be grief, there's going to be surgeries, there's going to be doctors who don't listen. But you know what? You're going to become so much stronger than you like ever imagined. And you're going to deadlift 210 pounds and you're going to be this beast. Um, and you are this process that we're going through is actually teaching you how to advocate for yourself, how to choose yourself, how to speak up. And one day you're going to look back and you're going to realize like you love your life exactly as it is. Like this is going to be something your comeback in this. Like this is actually the path to freedom. This is actually going to wake you up in a lot of ways. So I'm giving you a great big hug and like you're safe. Like it's okay. We make it through. And it's so much better than you thought. And it was just so funny because I did that. It's still like fresh, it's still emotional, but the discomfort went away.
Mhm. Yeah, beautiful. I get emotional right now too, because this is truly what you want to do. You mentioned parts work or inner child work, both of them. They're actually kind of similar too, in many ways. That you talked to that part that was coming out and being extremely terrified, but really terrified. So when we do that parts work, it's like we are giving this part the attention that they needed, and just help them to calm and settle and know that we're here with them. And this can be such a valuable tool for many, many people. All the people who have TMS or don't have TMS, because we all have these parts that are hidden, trying to get our attention, but we are busy rushing through our lives. We're not giving them the attention, and then they keep popping up and driving our decisions and driving our lives. So I'm so proud of you that you have started to use this tool, and sounds like it was helpful because this fear went away today, right? This morning when you did it.
Yeah. And it was
Mhm.
like stepping on the scale. I just like imagined holding the hand of my 27-year-old self and just
Mhm.
being like, this actually isn't a sign of sickness, it's a sign of strength.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like we're good. And
Hmm.
it's so powerful. That was something that I learned from you. And it's been, I agree with you. Everybody needs these tools.
Hmm. Hmm. I think so too.
Whether you
I
have
think so.
pain or not, because we
Right.
live in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And show me a person who doesn't have past trauma or something to process. Like, where's that person?
Yes.
Maybe meditating on a mountaintop somewhere. But I don't think that's most of us. And then you're definitely not listening to this podcast. But yeah, I agree. Is there anything that you do daily in order to just keep yourself healthy? And I'm not talking about the physical things at the moment yet. We'll get there. But when it comes to mindfulness, when it comes to um, understanding yourself, accepting yourself, and then TMS too. Like, what are some of the things that are in your regular daily practice?
Mm. It sounds so silly, but I heard this on a podcast of listen to morning nature sounds like
Mm-hmm.
birds
Mm-hmm.
when you wake up in the morning. And I've just started doing that. There's, free ones on meditation apps. I use Insight Timer, but I just started doing that as part of my morning routine of just like hearing the little morning birds. It's kind of like my way of like waking up in the morning instead of, and I have a rule, these are all new things that you've helped me implement of like, don't check your phone. Don't check your email. Don't get on social media. I don't do any of that until I've had breakfast.
Good.
So, in other words, I have to pour into myself first before I pour into other people or
Mm-hmm.
try to, because the world will pull you in a million different directions if you let it. So I listen to my little morning birds, and I actually one of the things that I do every morning is fill up my diffuser, and I get an essential oil diffusing. It really does affect my mood. I can feel that. And I make myself a breakfast, a warm breakfast. Like I actually cook eggs and cook things because I didn't have that luxury like before when I was working in the clinic as a PT. So I think there's something magical about, and for me, it's almost meditative to cook, to just like slow down, be present, make myself some food, nourish myself, make myself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and just like sit and be present with all
Mm-hmm.
of that is really, really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing that I'm kind of playing with right now is just like when I see myself in the mirror whether it's in the bathroom mirror or my car rear view mirror, whatever, like just like looking at myself, looking at my soul and just saying, I love you. Like that's been so powerful. Or just like a little bit of mirror work. I've got you. Um, changing the offering myself a lot more self-compassion. And if I start to beat up on myself, just kind of putting a hand over my heart and saying forgiven, and then just
Good.
like we go into that next thing. Or if we're ruminating on thoughts or like past traumas or things, like I literally think like, okay, change the channel. Like I have to kind of tell my brain, nah, we're gonna change the channel on that. We're gonna do this thing. But that's been really powerful because I feel like forgiving ourselves, offering ourselves more self-compassion, just talking to ourselves like we would a dear friend or a child that we love or somebody. That's been really huge of like, let's stop beating up on ourselves and doing things slower.
Mhm.
Because I used to try to multitask and rush around and do a million things at once and just be like, slow down. It calms me down. Um, you were really good at telling me this, like just taking breaks throughout the day has been so powerful. And I resisted you on this when you first started telling me this. I was like, what? Okay. You want me to just like take a 10-minute break? And now I really enjoy it because I can just feel it when I need it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, let's leave the work. Let's leave the room. Let's go somewhere else.
Mhm.
I enjoy my walks in nature. I do a walk outside if I can every day. And I make sure that at least one of those doesn't have a phone, doesn't, I'm not listening to anything. I'm just present, which has been really powerful for me. Doing structured time on social media. I used to be on social media all the time because it's part of my job. But like, I would be in the bathroom on the
Mhm.
potty, like trying to answer DMs. And now I ask myself, I pause and I go, is this a convenient time for me
Yeah.
to respond to messages?
Mhm.
If not, don't do it. Like,
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
just don't do it. Um, and setting boundaries,
Mhm.
saying no, like actually tuning in. Um, and sometimes that means course correcting. It's so funny. I thought I could do this thing. There was a request made of me. And initially I thought, yeah, I can do that thing. And then once I said yes, I felt this pressure and tightness and heaviness in my chest, like in my body. And my body was just like, no. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, fascinating. And so I texted the person back and said, actually, I can't do that thing. I thought I
Mhm.
could, but I can't. And being okay with Brene Brown calls it like momentary discomfort over long-term resentment. Like I say
Mhm.
that all the time, momentary discomfort over long-term resentment.
Good.
And just starting to establish those things. Like all of these are just little things kind of sprinkled throughout my day that kind of bring me back.
Mhm.
Getting off my phone at 8 p.m. Like I actually had to adjust my phone to where I can't open my social media apps or my email. Like
Mhm.
8 p.m. comes and it's like, boop, power
Mhm.
down. And it forces me to do other things like journal, go take a bath, like start my bedtime routine. I'll listen to evening nature sounds, little crickets, little like that. That's been, I don't know, something that I thought when I first heard that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. When I actually started doing it, I was like, I do feel more calm.
Mhm.
Like I
Yeah.
do feel better.
Mhm.
Um, and then like I'll kind of transition oils for calm and sleep diffusing throughout the home and kind of just like pull in. I think there's something powerful pulling in sense of smell with music or
Mhm.
sound
For sure.
and just thinking about how can I create a more peaceful, calm space? How can I find
Mhm.
more glimmers in my day? Um, how do I look for tiny miracles throughout my day? And
Mhm.
that may be like yesterday I was walking to the gym and I saw this little egg that had hatched
Mhm.
and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." Like
Yeah.
life, like little things that I wouldn't have noticed before.
Yeah.
Um, pulling those in.
Oh my gosh, so many beautiful things. And it all comes down to one thing. What you're doing with all of these steps is you are calming down your nervous system. You are sending your brain and your body a message of safety. You're slowing down, you're taking breaks throughout the day, shutting down the social media, going to the bathroom without the phone. All of these things have one purpose. which is let's send a signal of safety. And that's what we need. Like everybody who's listening and has these mind body symptoms, like this is the problem. You're constantly on edge, on high alert, probably. You know, there's I think exceptions too, but a lot of people are like very anxious, very busy doing so many things at once. And that's a constant sign of like danger, danger, right? There's always something that we have to do. So, how do we reverse that? We do the opposite. And it doesn't have to be like you, again, meditate on the top of the mountain all day long now, but it is building those micro moments into your day. And you mentioned that it was so difficult for you to start taking these breaks during the day. But once you start, it becomes natural. Like it becomes to the point where, and the way I teach my clients is like when you notice that you are feeling anxious or you are on edge and you really run to the bathroom with your phone, like pause and then go somewhere else and move away from it. And then, let your body breathe. And then once you practice this, then it becomes your second nature that you actually want to go out and you want to calm down, you want to relax a little bit because nobody truly enjoys being tense in the chest and abs crunch, right? You're not working out. Why are you crunching your abs like this? Why are your shoulders up to your ears? If you let your body breathe, you start noticing, oh, that's so much nicer. And I want to experience that more often. And these are the things that can heal you.
It's so true. That was so key for me was just even noticing that I was
Yeah.
dysregulated. Like,
Yeah.
oh, my nervous system's dysregulated right now. And that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel good. And then you can come back, but you don't know what you don't know. And so as
Mm-hmm.
you start to be able to name it and recognize it, then you're
Mm-hmm.
able to come back
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah. And we might also be very familiar with the feeling of anxiety and very unfamiliar with the feeling of peace and calm. And that's why we choose the familiar. We know what that's
Mm,
like. And I think that may have been the thing for you at first, about why taking breaks was so uncomfortable. Like, what do I do with myself, right? I think you mentioned that one time.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was like, I couldn't be bored.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to like, and I felt like I got a lot of my worth from my productivity and what I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little left turn here and change topics, and let's now dive into strength training, nutrition. I know you are very passionate about both of these things. So let's first start with strength training. You are training regularly. You have done this for years now. Why is it so important to you?
Oh, because I think it's really essential, especially for women. Outside of all of the things that we know we need to weight train for, right? We know we need to, especially as women, wanting to avoid osteoporosis, wanting to get more muscle mass on our body. We know that muscle's the organ of longevity. We know that that's going to help with insulin resistance. And like, if you want a magic pill, do you look younger, feel better, be more functional in life? Like, weightlifting
Mm-hmm.
is the thing. I tell people I often like weightlift for my 80-year-old self. Like I feel like the things that we do every day now are going to impact how we feel, how we move later in
Mm-hmm.
life. But on top of that, like the bigger thing that I think is so essential for women is to build confidence in yourself, to feel strong and powerful within, to take up space. We're just not taught these things. And we go to the gym and we see all the women over on the cardio machines, and rarely any women in the weightlifting section or in the dumbbells or doing any of these things. And it's really, and it's one of those things that it's like, I can try to explain it in so many ways. I can try to um, share what that feels like, but to face some fears, because for me, I was scared to go into the weight section of the room. Like that was a fearful thing. And I remember it took me 9 weeks of lifting consistently before the gym started to feel like home. Before I didn't really care if other men were looking at me or, whatever, that I could just go into the section, pick up the weights and do the things. And I hear all the time from women like, I don't want to go into that section, or I'll just stay on the weight machines because I feel safer here. Like it's better. I don't want to go over there. That place is scary. And what I want to tell you is by going over there and facing your fears and picking up the dumbbells or going into the squat rack or doing these things that you didn't think you could do before, like picking up a barbell, doing a back squat, doing a deadlift, you're going to start to feel like a badass. Like you are going to train yourself to go, I can do hard things. I can do scary things. I'm actually really strong. And that's really important, I think, just for your overall mental health and your self-confidence. And that reflects in every area and aspect of your life where you start to speak up, you start to take up space, you start to be like, oh, I'm a person who's worthy and deserves to be here, just like everybody else. Um, and there's a ripple effect that happens because I think, especially at women, we're taught to be small, don't take up space, stand in the corner, don't speak up, like do all these things. And you start to go, no, I deserve a seat at the table too. No, like actually, the guy at the hardware store can look at me when he's talking to me and not my husband. Or, you start to have these things, and there's something so profound, the transformation that happens that is so much bigger than, you going and picking up what you think it's going to look like.
Mhm.
So I really, and there's almost something like rebellious about it that I
Yeah.
love, like as women, of like, yeah, let's just get strong. So, oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
When did you start weightlifting?
January of 2022. I was one of those New Year, New You
Okay.
resolution people.
And look at you.
January 4th.
You actually did it because, like, I would say 90% of people who start, they don't continue. I mean, who starts, as a New Year's resolution. But good for you. That's amazing. But was it different then? Other than, yes, you first started, but let's say your first year compared to what you're doing now. How are they different? It sounds like very different.
They're very different. Oh man. The first year I was very shy. I was very timid. I'd cry in my car because I was so afraid to like go and lift in with the guys. I had to like give myself a pep talk and get into the gym and do the things. I had fear. I had pain. I had TMS issues. I really babied my hips and
Mhm.
my legs. I did not push leg strength very much. Like my arms and back and everything kind of came in pretty quickly with those newbie gains,
Mhm.
but my legs didn't. Because I would feel pain and that would stop me and I would feel fear. So even though I did the things, I was doing deadlifts, but I was deadlifting like 30 or 40 pounds because I wasn't going to go real heavy with it. I was like, we're doing the things. I was doing walking lunges, but without weight or wouldn't push a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Um, so this is why I think it's so important. Like, we need both. Like, yes, we need, because I was somebody who consistently lifted when I found you, but the TMS piece was so important for me. So they were like, I look at little Laura and I look back, there's still videos that pop up on Facebook because I was sharing a lot of that. And I just look at that girl and like how my posture was different. I was very timid. I was very small. I was very like, and I love that girl so much because it was because of her strength and bravery that I am who I am today. And I can just look at her with like the fondest, most like, oh, baby girl, I'm so proud of you. Like, look what you did. And now we're like a beast. We're eating more food. We're deadlifting. We're picking up barbells. I don't care. I don't care if there's big guys in the gym or whatever. Like, I find my space, I find my bench. I'm not worried. And in fact, it's really fun for me. Like yesterday, I was my lifting day and I was the only girl in the cave. And our gym is literally called the cave. Like there's a part of the gym that's a basement that you go into and it's where all the squat racks are and the dumbbells and it's like the serious part. Like upstairs is kind of like the bougie. I think it's like the people that want to be seen. But like the cave is like you're here to do some work. Like
Right.
we're not taking like we're doing work. And it's funny because I hear women say like, "Oh, I'm afraid to go in the cave. I don't go down in the cave." And I'm like, the cave is home for me. I love the cave.
Yes. Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
it's fun. Like there's just my level of confidence, my posture. Um, Everything is different. So
Mhm.
I just want to encourage people like compare your weightlifting journey year to year.
Mhm.
Not like month to month.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Everybody go into that cave. It doesn't matter. Like, oh, I get really fired up when I talk about strength training because of many of these things that you mentioned, like the empowering effect it has on women. And when I hear that, what you just shared, like, where do you want to go? Like, who do you want to be? Like in a year, or even let's say 6 months, like, do you want to be in this like little area where you are safe with your tiny weights, which by the way, it's okay to start with. Yes, start with body weights, start with tiny weights. I mean, I even have a program that's called Trainable Starter, complete beginners, zero weights, just bands and body weight. Perfect. But don't stay there, you know? Go to the cave and then start showing up. It's an internal thing. You gotta find that internal strength and just show up and put yourself in this situation. And then you see that you can handle it. And it's going to be such a transformative journey for women to actually take that leap instead of like keep talking about it. Keep talking about it. I want to do it. I want to do it. I should do it. Yes, there's a barbell. It's scary. Oh my God. Can I do it? Just go already. Just go. And what's the worst thing that could happen? Hey, you are in a perfectly safe gym. There's people around you. If something happens, somebody's going to help you. We're not asking you to go to jungle and take down trees or whatever. It's not like that. You are in a very safe environment. Just show up. And I get so fired up about it. Actually, just yesterday I was writing an email to my emailing list about strength training, and I noticed that I'm getting like my heart is starting to beat faster. I'm like, get it time to take a break, just because I don't want people to miss this. I don't want women to
Mm.
miss what it has to offer. I don't want women to live their lives and to stay small in the corner and hiding in the bougie pink dumbbell room, right? Just go and do the stuff and you see what can happen. So again, I got off the tangent here, but I think it's so freaking important. And I'm so glad that you're seeing the same thing. It's just like your life can change when you take that big leap and actually do it.
It transforms everything.
Yeah.
And then when you go from not being able to lift a barbell to
Hmm.
being able to lift a barbell
Yeah.
to being able to throw weight on it and lift a like when you consistently do things that you couldn't do
Hmm.
maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago, and there's something really powerful that's unlocked
Hmm.
within that,
Yeah.
like, oh, what's capable? What
Hmm.
can I do with other things? Like
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
amazing.
That's truly awesome. And you mentioned that you did deadlifts, lower body lifts were kind of where you were holding back before because of your TMS pain. So do you understand right that when you learned about TMS, what it truly is, you're like, let's stop doing this, let's go pick up heavier stuff and let's just go, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Then the conversation was different, where before it was, oh, okay, it's hurting. My hip is talking to me. I better back off. I better decrease range. I better decrease weight. I better like make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, oh, we're fine. We're
Mm-hmm.
fine. There's nothing physiologically wrong with us. I feel you. I hear you. Okay, you're a little nervous, but we're safe and we're strong. And I'll even tell myself, and we're doing deadlifts now, and that's okay. And here
Yeah.
we go. And sometimes I do like you've taught me some somatic exercise. Sometimes I do some tapping. Sometimes I do a little bit of jumping up and down and kind of move it
Mm-hmm.
out. And then I'm like, and then we get to work because
Mm-hmm.
we know that we're strong.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so funny is then the sensations go away. Whereas
Right.
when I kept babying them, playing into them, like, then they just lingered. And now, like, I almost take it for granted. I used to have sensations all the time with walking to the gym with my lifts. I did it, but it was constantly talking to me. And now I'm like, oh, it's rare that my hips talk to me every once in a blue moon. And when it
Mm-hmm.
does, there's usually an emotional component that's coming up that I can pinpoint.
Yep.
Um, but it's completely different, and it's finally allowed me to push some weight with my legs.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Um, I remember for quite some time you deadlifted about your body weight, which I think it was about 145-ish then. And
Yeah.
then I think it was like a period of like 2 weeks or something. I remember exactly where I was when I got this text. When Laura was texting me, I just deadlifted 210 pounds. I was like, I'm about to drop my phone. What just happened here? So what happened?
I, you know, for the longest time, it's kind of like I had these goals in the back of my head. Like, for example, I had a goal that I wanted to do my first pull up.
Mhm.
And that's like what I was working for. It was one of the big bucket list things with weightlifting that I wanted to check off my list. And it felt so good when I could first do my first pull-ups. And I've always wanted to be able to deadlift my husband, who's like 180 pounds. And I remember, and I don't know why. One, it just sounds badass. Two, there's something powerful of just knowing like if there ever was an emergency, God forbid, or something happened, like knowing that I could move that weight around some way somehow. Like I just think that that's kind of a powerful thing. And I remember, and it was funny because I was actually like kind of having an off day, and I was like upset and um, like kind of got into a little tiff with somebody, and I was just like. And there's nothing better to like burn off steam than go into the cave and lift heavy weights. Like, and I
Mhm.
actually feel like more women would have less autoimmune issues and health issues if they were taught how to allow anger to pass through them
Oh,
by like picking up
100,000%.
heavy weights, hitting a bag, like move that out. And I was just like, and I went into the cave and I like loaded the bar. I kind of did my warm up weight and I was like, I can go heavier. So I put a little bit more on. I was like, I can go heavier. And what's interesting, I never did this before training with you. I was always taught do 10 to 13 reps of
Mm.
whatever it is. And if you can do more than that, add more weight. But I wasn't taught like do 5 reps, heavy, heavy. And it was one of those weeks that it was like 5 rep max, go heavy, and I had never done that. I had never done a 5 rep max on a deadlift. I was always trying to hit 10 to 13. So when I did that, I was like, oh, I can do more. Mm-mm-mm. Oh, I can do more. And I remember getting to like 180 or 185. And I was so excited because I was like, I can deadlift Mark. Yay. And then I thought, what if we can do 200? So I like gradually, it was like, what if we could do 190? What if we could do 195? I think I was going in like 5 increments.
Yeah.
And got up to 200. And what's so funny is like once I did 200, I totally had TMS sensations in
Mm.
my SI and in my hips. And I was like, oh, this is so funny. My brain is like, oh, like it's too heavy. And
Yep.
I totally had to kind of do my own work around it to process it. And I think there was just a lot of things, but um, allowing anger to pass through me and using that in my deadlifts and believing that I was strong enough. I think so much of it is mental.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like we will tell ourselves, oh, I can only do this much or whatever, but you're stronger and you're more capable than you think you are. And
Mhm.
I remember you saying that. Like at one point you were like, "Oh, just the way that you're picking up that bar, you could do 180. Like you'll get to 180." And so you held the belief for me before I could hold it in myself.
Mm.
And that helped me too. I was like, "Well, Kirsten says I can do 180." And then I was like, "Holy I can."
Yeah.
I was like,
And you did.
"Woohoo."
And you did. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. I can tell. I've had it several times, women are staying safe, holding themselves back. And again, just like I said, like if you have TMS symptoms, get them checked out if you want to make sure that this isn't something serious. Same thing I would say about like deadlifting or any heavy weights. Like, don't be like stupid about it. Don't be like on day one, go lift 300 pounds. Like, let's not do that. Not reasonable. But if you lift up a barbell and I can see that it basically flies off the floor, then I'm like, what are we waiting for here? Let's go. It's like, what? And also, I want women to know that it's allowed to go up faster than in 5 pound increments, And we don't have to go like five, 2.5. Let's see what's the tiniest weight, 1.25 maybe. So you will add 1.25. It's if like, let's say 210 is your absolute maximum right now in your deadlift, right? And you're like, can I get like a little bit extra? Then yes, add those 1.25. So add a total of 2.5 because you're already very, very close to your max. So at this point, we're not adding 20 pounds. But if it's like 100 pound weight and it flies off the floor, no need to make it like 102 and a half. It's like, let's not do it. It's just like you're wasting your time. Oh my God. It's just so cool to see your transformation. And I think your big goal throughout our work together, which has been, I don't know, 9 months or something like that right now, has been strength. And it took some adjustments in your mindset first to accept it. So So do you want to talk a little bit about it? And I want to kind of nudge you towards nutrition now. So how do you start actually gaining strength and what was the mind shift turn that had to happen there?
Oh,
Mindset shifts
so
that had to happen there. Yeah.
when I met you, I think I was only eating like 1,600 calories, maybe
Mhm.
1,650. And I was lifting every single day and not eating enough calories and was exhausted and had like full on mental depression and seriously thought that I was going to need to be put on antidepressants. And I don't say that lightly as somebody who's very open to natural remedies and tools. And I was even working on seeing if insurance would cover genetic testing to see like what antidepressant would resonate with me. And I just felt really lost. I was constantly trying to get at a lower weight. My old trainer at the time was telling me that I needed to do cardio every single day, like all of these things. And that's when I was like, F that, I'm done. Like I was already like mentally and physically exhausted. And I was like, I had no more gas in the tank to do that. And you were like, yeah, you're totally under eating and overtraining. And it took a lot of trust because you were like, to get where you want to get, you're going to eat more and you're going to train less. And that was like, what? Coming from a background of like push harder, do more, no pain, no gain, no rest days. And I wore that like a badge of honor. I never take a rest day. I lift every day, right? And I was dying inside and felt like crap. So yeah, I was scared to eat more food. I was scared to eat carbs, especially like coming from a very like low carb, more paleo background for so many years, like for my health and all of this. And I had also like gone the other way after hip surgeries. I had put on 30 pounds. And I did a really restrictive, looking back now, I can see it as restrictive, but I did a program that was no flour, no sugar, no sweeteners, nothing. Did it work? Yeah, I lost 30 pounds. But what was fascinating was I got to my goal weight and I still didn't like how I looked in a swimsuit. Like I was like, oh, I could be super small and super tiny, but not have muscle and not be toned and not be strong. And I felt at that point, I think I was lifting for like 2 years and I felt like I was working my butt off
Mhm.
and not putting on the muscle that I wanted. And you were like, yeah, because you're not fueling your body. Like you're not eating food. Like you have to fuel your muscles. And so there, it was like a total trust exercise, really, of like working with you and being like, we're going to increase food. We're going to do it slowly. And something that you did that helped me tremendously was we took pictures and you would show me pictures of where I started eating 1,600 calories or whatever it was. And then pictures like of eating like 2,000 calories or 2,100 calories or like as we started upping it. And they looked the same. And my brain like needed to see that because I think body dysmorphia is crazy, and especially as women, and depending on where we are in our cycle, and when we look at ourselves in the mirror and we're like, ah. But when we actually do a side by side comparison, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that I noticed with you was my depression lifted, my mental health improved. I had more energy. I was sleeping better. And I canceled the appointment. I didn't even do genetic testing. I didn't go on an antidepressant. I didn't do any of that because just eating more food made such a difference. And I feel like that's often not the message that women are told. It's like diet more, be restrictive, be super skinny. And just eating more food helped me like in a huge, huge way. So that was a gift that you gave me. And also like that we didn't have to be super restrictive, that you know what, you can have a piece of chocolate. Like you can have a Yazo bar. Like it's okay. Like we're not gonna, we don't have to because I came from so restrictive, no sugar, no nothing, no flour, no nothing. And it was like building trust with my body again and like enjoying the little things in life like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to eat a piece of chocolate. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to eat a cookie. Like I remember my mom makes these bizcochito, like Mexican wedding cookies around Christmas time, and I hadn't had one in over 10 years.
Oh God. Oh
And it was
no.
like
It's so
so
sad.
nice to like eat something that reminds me of my childhood, that like I like little things like that. And I feel like that is the freedom that weightlifting and macro tracking with you gave me, is a more positive relationship with food.
Mhm.
And I feel like we're in the next phase of it now, Kirsten. I'm like really excited to see like where we go from here because like we did it. We're like increasing calories, and then it was so funny because I started getting hungry all the time, which reminded me of those days when I was losing weight and not eating a lot. And now we're like adding a little bit more fuel, and it's totally like trusting the process. Um, but what I realized with adding more fuel is I'm like a freaking beast. Like I had energy. I could lift a lot heavier than I ever have in my life. My strength was better. Um, just so many things. And I didn't feel like depleted.
Mhm.
Being able to lift and I feel like you do it in a really good way because there's a right way and a wrong way that people don't understand. And this is why I really want to encourage people to work with you because you can be spinning your wheels. Like we know, yeah, let's go weight train. But if you're not doing it in the most efficient way, you're not going to see the results that you want. And this is what bothers me is like I'll hear people say, "Well, I tried diet and weightlifting and it didn't work, so I'm going to go on Ozempic, or I'm going to go
Mhm.
take these shots, or I'm going to," and I'm like, "But did you?
Yeah.
Like, did you?" And so this is where coaches need coaches and we need guides. And like you literally took me by the hand and was like, "Okay, trust me, like we're going on this journey." And like I never really viewed or really understood the power of food and fuel and how that relates to the nervous system
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
regulating our nervous system. And I
Yeah.
think my metabolism was in the garbage. Um, so
Well, 3 years at like 1600 calories will do it. Especially because you're tall. You're like 5'8.5", if I remember correctly. You
yeah,
are
yeah.
tall. So to eat only 1600 calories, which is the reality for many women, I know that. Just it's not okay. Your body doesn't like it. Your nervous system is screaming at you, like, why are you starving us? And that's really not how it should be. And I want to say I really admire your commitment and your trust because so many women would not do this. It sounds illogical. It sounds like you want me to get fat on purpose. You're doing this to me like that. And I'm like, no, just want you to be healthy. Uh, and you have shared, you said at the beginning that, yeah, the scale has been, climbing up to like 150. And it was when we started, I think it was like 144 or something. Yes, you have gained weight. We're not going to hide that. We're not going to be like, oh, it's been so easy. It has been hard for you to see the number go up. It has been hard for you to continue the process and trust that this is what your body truly needs. And it's been hard for you to choose that over like what was familiar before. So I really want to let you know that what you've been doing is just, I admire it a lot because not too many women have the same courage and strength and like long term kind of goal in mind because we all want results super quickly and by yesterday, but it's just not how it works.
Mm. And I admire you so much because I feel like you're very real and you do what's in the best interest of your client's health, mental health, physical health, emotional health. And I remember one of my biggest goals at the time was to see some leg definition and abs. And the old trainer that I was working with was like, "You're 5 pounds away from abs, let's do more cardio, like, let's get it." And I remember you telling me and asking me, like, even at your lowest weight, which was like around one time that I was really sick, I got down to like 124. My patients at the time thought that I had an eating disorder. And you were like, "Did you ever have abs?" And I was like, "No, I never had abs." Like, even at the skinniest that I've ever been, the lowest that I got with my weight loss journey was like around 130, didn't have abs. And my abdomen's been completely reconstructed. Like a softball sized tumor came out. And it's so interesting to just look back because in middle school and high school, the place of my body that I did not like was my abdomen. And where did a cancerous tumor pop up? In my abdomen. And now we're eating more food and we're like trusting this process. And I remember you saying like abs is genetic. And I remember you even asked me like, "Why do you want this?" Like, why is this the goal? Because um, for women, it can be important to have a little bit more body fat percentage
Mhm.
on us, like for our hormonal health, for how we're feeling. And you sent me some really good resources, like podcasts to listen to, tools. Like you really helped me um, to kind of accept that. And I'm getting to the place where I can just accept, like, we don't have to have that. Do you want abs and be starving? Like, there's going to be a cost with that.
Mhm.
And now I know you're probably going to be really hungry and irritable. Your mental health could feel like garbage. Like, is that worth it? Or do you want to feel good, be able to like eat a cookie every now and then and like live your life and be really strong? And so I so appreciate that because I remember from day one, and I remember like with other trainers feeling like the carrots right here. It's
Mhm.
like, just keep going, just eat less, just work harder. And you like never get it. And you're like, you know what? That might be a genetic thing.
Mhm.
Like, what do you really want? How do you really want to feel? Because every once in a while I'll look back at my like smaller body Facebook memories and go like, oh, I was so tiny. And you're like, but how did you feel in that body? And I was like
Mhm.
garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I appreciate those reminders. We need them.
Yeah. Well, the abs thing, yes, it is a big part of it is genetics, but what you said also, like getting those abs, it can be possible for a lot of people, but like, yeah, you're right. What is the cost for women to have abs? Some women have them like naturally, they just have more ab definition, and then others will not have them unless they get themselves down to like, I don't know, very low body fat percentage. And you're right, then it becomes a choice between abs and like enjoyment of life. I view strength training and nutrition and like overall healthy lifestyle, I feel like quite differently from many other trainers. And it's not what what a lot of people want. They're like, are you even a nutrition coach if you're not like, beating my ass and telling me that I only get to eat carrots and apples? I'm like, no, not that. Because I don't know. It feels like such a big disservice to women who already have been suffering so much. And what happens if we just turn our approach around and then go towards strength and health for a little bit? Let's see what that feels like. Like, have you ever, instead of wanting to lose weight, have you ever wanted to lift 200 and I don't know, plus pounds deadlift? Like, what would that feel like? And that could be like a big aha moment, something that women have never considered. Like, oh, I could approach my fitness that way. Wow, look at that. And yeah, it's not for everybody. If you want to be, I want to have different goals, then, that's fine too. Either way. Okay, Laura. So we are getting close to the end of our chat today, but I would like to finish with some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Just give me a second. All right. Here's the first one. What is your favorite way of working out?
Actually, weight training.
Hmm.
I feel like it's given me so much. It's transformed my life in so many ways, as we've talked about. So I
Yep.
really do enjoy it.
Yeah. And what is the workout or maybe even an individual exercise that you don't love at all, but you do it anyway because you know it's good for you?
Anything lunges,
Oh.
like dumbbell lunges, Bulgarian split squats, walking lunges. Like whenever I'm doing lunges, I'm like, freaking hate these, but I do them. And this is why I think you need a coach to like force you to do stuff you hate. Because if I wrote my own workouts, I wouldn't do those at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. Absolutely same here. And now you're finally getting your lower body gains too, that you didn't for a long time. And
Yes.
thank you lunges, right?
Thank you, lunges. Yes. We're finally getting a little bit of a booty. We're finally seeing some leg definition. Yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite exercise though? If you hate lunges, what's something you absolutely love?
Pull-ups.
Pull-ups. Sweet. Yeah. Your
Yeah.
pull-ups are impressive.
Yeah.
What is your favorite not everyday food?
Chocolate croissant.
Mm, sweet. And it's nice to have them after so many years of not having them, isn't it?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's like being reunited with an old friend.
Yes. All right, here's the next one. What is your favorite way to spend a Saturday night?
I am an introvert. I am a homebody. And so I love Chipotle also. Chipotle is like a love language for me. So I get a big chicken salad from Chipotle. And I love to watch movies. I'm a big Disney movie buff, but like any movie, I would love to like eat some Chipotle, watch some movies, play some board games. Um, that sounds like a lot of fun for me.
Mm.
Even better bonus points if you can do it in your pajamas. Awesome.
Sounds like a lot of fun. What is your biggest pet peeve?
I have a few.
Okay, let's have a
Uh,
few.
One, people that complain about things all the time, the same things, but then they don't do anything to change it. And I'm like, either like stop complaining about the thing or like figure it out. That really bothers me. I think because I'm such an activator and I'm just gonna like, if you don't like
Mhm.
something, change it.
Yeah.
Uh, Another pet peeve, people at the gym who will reserve all these machines at once. Like they've got their phone on the bench, they got their water bottle over here on the lap pull down machine, they're doing something else over here. And I'm like, no, take your stuff with you. You've got one body, you can only do one machine at a time. Like, love Laura. That drives me a little bit bonkers. And kind of similar to that, people who don't put their grocery cart up at the
Ah,
store,
right.
like their shopping cart, like they'll shop all day with it and then they just like leave it randomly somewhere in the
Hmm.
parking lot. And I'm
Hmm.
like, and it'll usually be like a couple feet from like where you return it. And I'm like,
Hmm.
you were so close.
Right.
Like just put it back.
That is so true. Yeah, all of them. The first one I wanna add, like this is also what I really again appreciate you and what makes working with you so fun is that you are an action taker. Like when I
Yeah.
ask you to do something, I never force you, but I'm telling you, hey, this would be a good idea. You're like, okay, let's go, let's do it. You're not like sitting there thinking, sending me text 10 messages back and forth. Should I not? There's this argument. You're not like that. You're like, I'm going. And that serves you really well. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. That's why you are so successful. I love it. What brings you the most joy?
Being in nature,
Hmm.
specifically, there's about 20 minutes from where I am. It's Paladaro Canyon. I feel like it's a hidden gem. It's the second largest canyon in the United States, but nobody knows about it. Everybody knows about the Grand Canyon.
Hmm.
And it is my happy place
Mm.
because you don't get a lot of cell coverage out there. Like it's quiet and it's beautiful and it's my place. So when
Mm.
I can go and I can hike there, be out there, it it's special. It's a
Mm.
special place.
Sounds beautiful. What is something you thought you could never do, but you did it anyway?
Pull-ups.
Ah, that is a big deal and many women's dream to be able to do one.
Yes. I hated gym. I have childhood trauma from gym classes and all of these things. And I wasn't an athlete. I was a band nerd. So to be able to do something like that just felt so far away, like it's never going to happen. And to be able to do that was like, wow, it was really empowering.
Mm, beautiful. Okay, and here's the last one. What is your number one bucket list item?
I want to go to Australia and New Zealand. They're just, I don't know. I've been thinking about that for several years and I feel like it would be so fun. I love to travel and have been to a lot of different places, but those two places are like a bucket list thing that I would really,
Mm.
really like to do.
So cool. They do look really beautiful. All right. Well, anything else, Laura? We've talked about so many things, covered a lot of topics, but is there anything that you would like to add?
Hmm. I would just tell women that it's so, so important for you to start investing and taking care of yourself. And I think a lot of us feel guilty for doing that, or we'll make up a lot of excuses, or, we'll do it for all these other people. And I just want to give you the permission slip that you are allowed to be strong. You are allowed to feel good in your body. You are allowed to be vibrant, like all of these things. And like just what you and I have been talking about, Kirsten, if you're feeling that tug on your heart of like, maybe I should reach out to Kirsten, like do it. Just do it because there's no better investment than in your health and in your wellness. And again, your 80-year-old self is going to be so excited, but you're going to see so many changes and transformations in your life by starting this work. And there's great power in it. So I would just really encourage you to start taking care of yourself, start mothering yourself. And on this healing journey, offer yourself a whole lot of self compassion.
Yeah. All right. That was beautiful. So thank you so much again, Laura. It was a pleasure to talk to you as always and talk to you again soon.
My pleasure.